Good morning, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and today I bring you guys Marnie's Grimmsnarl. This is the best new deck from Destine Rivals, and it looks like the most competitive deck of the new format. So, let's get straight into this. So, if you don't know, Marnie's Grimmsnarl is based around Marnie's Grimmsnarl. This is a new Pokemon that comes out in Destine Rivals, and it has two amazing things going for it. For one, its ability, Punk Up, allows you, when you play this card from hand, so basically when you evolve it from hand, it allows you to accelerate Dark Energy to all your Marnie's Pokemon up to 5 energy from deck, which is absolutely insane. So you can just accelerate 5 Dark Energy anywhere you want onto the field, and that is a very powerful ability. He also has the Shadow Bullet attack. For 2 Dark Energy, he does 180 damage, and the attack does 30 damage to the bench, which is really strong. So basically, he's kind of like a dark version of Dragonbolt, but the reason why he's a little different than Dragonbolt is because his play style is a little different. So first things first, we're playing, of course, 3 copies of Marnie's Grimmsnarl. We're also playing 2 copies of Marnie's Morgrim. This is just the middle form evolution. It has for 2 Dark Energy the Corkscrew Punch for 60 damage. However, we usually just don't do that. We usually just evolve it up. Let me just lower this real quick so everyone can see. And then finally, we're playing 4 copies of Marnie's Impidimp. This card is the basic for the deck. It has the Flinch effect, which just says for any color's energy, you can draw a card. And it also has for 1 Dark Energy the Corkscrew Punch, which does 10 damage, which is not a lot, but it's something. Now, a thing you do got to be worried about this deck is that it is weak to grass. So decks that are playing Grass Ogerpon are very dangerous for the deck. However, we have ways around that because we are a Frost Slash Monkey Dory deck. And what I mean by that is we're playing Frost Slash, who has the ability of the Freezing Shroud, which just says during your opponent's checkup phase or your checkup phase, put 1 damage counter for each Pokemon that has an ability, which is pretty insane. So basically what it allows you to do is that every standby phase of either player's turn, basically everyone takes 10 damage, which is pretty insane if they have an ability. You do gotta be careful because your Marnie's Grimmsnarl does have an ability. However, we do play Monkey Dory in order to heal it, in order to move that damage to your opponent, which feels really good. We're playing 3 copies of Monkey Dory. And then finally, for our last Pokemon in this deck, we're playing 2 copies of Badoo. I have seen some people play Cactus. However, I feel like Badoo is just fine for the deck. Next, we're playing 4 copies of the best supporter in the game, Arven. Arven allows you to search for an item and a tool card because it's the best support card. We're also playing lovely Iono as another 4-up for the deck. Allows you to shuffle back your hand and your opponent's hand, and then you draw equal to the amount of prize cards you and your opponent has. So you have 5 prize cards, you draw 5. Your opponent has 3 prize cards, they draw 3. Really nice card. We're also playing, of course, 3 copies of Professor's Research because it's a great card. And we're also playing 2 copies of Boss's Orders and 2 copies of Counter Catcher because it's just a great card, allowing you to just immediately Counter Catcher or boss your opponent's field. Now, I have seen people play 3 Counter Catcher, 1 boss, which you might want to do, but I felt like the 2-2 ratio feels really nice. Now let's actually move on to the stadiums. Move this up real quick just so I can make some more space. There's a lot of cards in this deck. Move this up real quick. Alright. Next cards we are playing. We are playing, of course, 2 copies of Smith-Muff's Gym. This card's absolutely amazing. It says once per turn during either player's turn, the player turn can search their deck for a Marnie's card and add it to their hand. So this field spot basically allows you to add any of the evolutions you want, or just Impidimp from your hand. So basically you can activate this if you already have a Morganite on field, and then just go straight into Grimmsnarl, because it just searches Grimmsnarl. The only thing you do have to be worried about is that if your partner is also playing Marty's, they can use your field spell against you. because it's during either player's turn and it's a shared field spell. So if they're playing Marty's, they can also search their Imp and their Marty's cards. So do be careful of that. We're also playing 2 copies of Artisan. This is just a great field spell to put basics into the bench like Monkey Dory. Really, really great. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Buddy Buddy Poffin. Great card to get off your lovely, lovely Arvin. We're also playing 2 copies of Rare Candy and 2 copies of Night Stretcher. This is a great card. We're also playing the 1 Rod, the 1 Vessel, and the 1 Ultra Ball. Now, for my A-Spec, I was going to go for the lovely, lovely chest, the new secret chest or secret box or whatever. However, that card's like $20 or $30. So I said, I'm good. I'm just going to play Unfair Stamp because Unfair Stamp is a great card. Both players shuffle their hands back to the deck. You draw 5. Your opponent draws, I believe, 3 or 2. No, they draw 2. Absolutely unfair card. We're also playing, of course, 1 copy of Switch, the 1 Rescue Board, the TM Evolution, and the D-Evolution. And finally, 8 copies of Dark Energy to round up the deck. So that is Grimmsnal's, Marty's Grimmsnal's. It's a very fun deck. It's a very competitive deck. It looks like the best deck out of Destine Rivals. However, there's definitely more decks to go over with you all. I have a Stevens Metagross deck in the future coming up. And I would hopefully want to bring out some more Team Rockets decks and some Ethan's Adventure decks in the future. So that is it for today's video. I hope you all enjoy. Don't do anything stupid. See you all next one, and bye-bye.